The smart thing to have done would have been to test and learn everything and see if I could do it before I filmed. Hello, I am Kyun Gabriel Sung. I am the writer and director and editor of Legacy of the Sun and Moon, a Korean fantasy short film. So I'm here to discuss some of the processes that went on behind making this film while watching the trailer. Let's get started. So this scene is pretty interesting because it's a combination of a 3D element, which is the soldier in the foreground, and a video made in Kling AI, which is that background. And the reason I chose to do it that way was I did have a scene set up in Blender of all these soldiers marching using geometry nodes. But my computer was crashing many times. And it was proving so impossible to do that I decided to just get rid of this scene altogether. I had instead replaced it with another kind of 3D animated scene in Blender of like a ruined castle and flags billowing weakly against the smoke. The funny thing though is that because it took so long, the post production of this took so long, that by the time I was kind of getting ready to finalize everything, Kling had just produced a new model, which I think at this point was 2.6. I don't think it was Kling 3.0. And I was able to use the 3D model that I had made as the base image to create a scene of all these soldiers marching and have Kling AI then animate that image to make it look like this gigantic army marching forward. But it didn't really end there because I could not at the time get it to create the scene that I really wanted, which was a background of an army marching, and in the foreground would be the soldier, and then the camera would rack focus from the background of the army to the foreground soldier. So what did I do? I actually rebuilt this scene in Blender. So I put the Kling video as a background in Blender, and I put the soldier model that I had in the foreground, and I manually animated the camera. So I faked the camera movement to go from the army to the soldier, and then I had the camera in Blender do a rack focus from that army to the soldier. So it's actually a combination of both 3D and AI elements. So every time we filmed a scene where the characters were interacting with this monster rising up behind, Ara right here, played by Yugaun, we had to rely on the imagination of the talent. And the reason for that was there was nobody who could hold like a stick with a green ball on it to kind of show the motion because it was just me and the makeup team. So what I ended up doing was I gave the talent a few directions of this is the way the creature moves. It is a gigantic snake. I think that's what I said. It's a gigantic snake. It's kind of like worming its way around and in a very slow, lumbering kind of way. And I would animate this creature based on where the talent was looking and how the talent was moving. Actually, this creature was not the hardest to animate. I had a lot of fun animating this thing. We were very deep in the mountains. That's why we were able to catch these like great views of just pure forests and mountains. And we had to deal with all the wildlife that came out because we were so deep in those mountains. No tigers though. Tigers are not in Korea anymore.
이제 어디로 가야 하는 것인가? 이놈은 각자지. 밤의 숲의 장면.
과거로 돌아가
So this scene had several iterations before I finally landed on this final look. The original scene that was filmed in 2024 had this character Juan, played by me, wearing the costume or clothes from when he was younger. And I realized that would have caused significant timeline issues going forward. So when we were filming pickups for the prequel web drama to this movie, Record of the Dawn, I actually took that time to also reshoot this scene. And looking back, I'm very satisfied with the choice.
모든 일들을 받고 싶지 않나요? 그러나 내가 과거로 돌아가더라도 넌 막을 수 없을 걸.
You know, the funny thing is, and maybe it does come off in the video, the smart thing to have done would have been to test and learn everything and see if I could do it before I filmed. But the only thing I knew I could do before filming even began was Kakja and the Kankirat soldiers. I was not sure how I was going to accomplish this scene of vines like wrapping around. I had an inkling of an idea of how I was going to do that. And I figured it out as I was editing the project. So it was fun. It was fun. I had fun. Lots of all-nighters though. So this scene was almost not going to happen. It was in the original script, but I did not cast the prince yet, and I was slightly concerned about the budget. Granted, it was a small budget, but I really did not want to stretch it too much because I felt like I could cut it without doing too much damage to the full story. But when we got around to filming that prequel web drama, I casted the prince then, and since we were already in the green screen studio for that part of the filming, I said, well, why not film the scene while we're at it? And I was very, very thankful that we were able to get this scene in because it just adds a layer of depth to the final story and also builds up a couple things for the story down the road. Coming in late 2026. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment down below. If you have any questions about this film, the characters, the project, also let me know in the comment section below and I will answer them in another video. So, until next time.